December 26, 2004, at a depth of 30 kilometers beneath the Indian Ocean, 1,300 kilometers of the Earth's crust ruptures. The seabed rises 15 meters, and 30 cubic kilometers of water are thrown upward. The energy of 23,000 atomic bombs is released in an instant. But to understand the scale of the disaster, we need to start with what was happening underwater long before that fateful day. Geological background. The Indian Ocean is located in one of the most seismically active zones on the planet. Here, the Indo-Australian tectonic plate moves northeast at a speed of about 6 centimeters per year and dives under the Burmese microplate. This process is called subduction. Over the centuries, tension has been building up. The Burmese plate has been pushing on the Indo-Australian plate, causing it to sink deeper and deeper. Energy built up along a fault line stretching over 1,300 kilometers. Geologists knew about this zone, but no one could predict when this enormous energy would be released. The region was not prepared. Unlike the Pacific Ocean, there was no tsunami warning system in the Indian Ocean. The morning of December 26th, at 7:53 a.m., at a depth of about 30 kilometers below the seabed, 160 kilometers west of the coast of Sumatra, what seismologists call a megaquake occurred. The fault ruptured. In 15 minutes, the crack spread northward for about 1,200 kilometers, and the seabed shifted vertically by 15 meters in some places. The earthquake had a magnitude of 9.1 to 9.3 on the Richter scale. It was the third strongest earthquake in the history of instrumental observations, after the Chilean earthquake of 1960 and the Alaskan earthquake of 1964. The energy released at that moment is equivalent to approximately 23,000 atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima. The earthquake was so powerful that it caused the entire planet to vibrate. Instruments recorded fluctuations in the Earth's surface of up to 1 centimeter around the world. This earthquake changed the shape of the Earth, making it slightly more flattened at the poles. It shortened the length of a day by approximately 2.68 microseconds due to the redistribution of the planet's mass. Even the Earth's axis of rotation shifted by about 2.5 centimeters. The birth of killer waves. When the seabed rose sharply, it displaced a huge volume of water. About 30 cubic kilometers of water were lifted upward. This water began to spread in all directions in the form of long waves. In the open ocean, these waves travel at the speed of a jet plane, up to 800 kilometers per hour, but their height in open water is only about 60 centimeters. Ships on the open sea did not even notice their passage. The first strike. Sumatra was closest to the epicenter. The waves reached the northern coast of the island, the province of Aceh, about 15 to 20 minutes after the earthquake. Eyewitnesses described how the sea first receded. This is a typical sign of an approaching tsunami. The sea seems to be pulled back, exposing the seabed for hundreds of meters. Fish flounder on the sand. Boats lie on their sides. Curiosity is a natural human reaction. Many people went to see this phenomenon. It cost them their lives. Then came the first wave, up to 30 meters high in some places. The waves were the size of a 9-story building made of water, rushing ashore at the speed of a car. But it wasn't just water. It carried everything with it. Trees, cars, debris from buildings, ships. It was a water battering ram of incredible destructive force. The city of Banda Aceh, the provincial capital with a population of about 300,000, was virtually wiped off the face of the earth. The waves penetrated 3 to 4 kilometers inland. More than 100,000 people died in this region alone. The spread of the disaster. After striking Sumatra, the waves continued their journey across the Indian Ocean. 2 hours later, they reached the coast of Thailand, where thousands of tourists were relaxing on the beaches. The resort of Phuket bore the brunt of the impact. The same mechanism was at work here. The sea receded, exposing coral reefs and fish. Tourists came out with their cameras to take pictures. Video recordings from those locations show people standing on the exposed seabed, unaware of the danger, minutes before the waves arrived. At about the same time, waves crashed onto the east coast of Sri Lanka. The island was hit on both sides. Waves swept around it from the north and south, creating a double impact. More than 35,000 people died here. The famous Samudra Devi train was traveling along the coastline from Colombo to Gallo. The wave engulfed 8 carriages. More than 1,500 passengers and residents of nearby villages were killed, making it the largest railway disaster in history. 4 hours after the earthquake, the waves reached the coast of India. The states of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh were hit hard. About 16,000 people died here, but the tsunami did not stop there. 7 hours later, the waves, weakened but still dangerous, reached the east coast of Africa. In Somalia, Kenya, and Tanzania, even at a distance of more than 5,000 kilometers from the epicenter, the waves reached a height of up to 9 meters and claimed the lives of more than 300 people. The scale of the losses. It took months to get the final death toll. The official number of people who died was 227,898 in 14 countries, but the real number is probably over 250,000 if you count unregistered migrants, tourists, and people living in remote villages. Another 1.5 million people lost their homes. The economic damage is estimated at over $15 billion. This was not a local disaster. Citizens of more than 50 countries died that day. Swedes vacationing in Thailand, German tourists in Sri Lanka, fishermen from Indian villages, Indonesian farmers, Somali traders. Immediate consequences and response. The first hours after the disaster were chaotic. Communication systems were destroyed, roads were washed away, airports were damaged. The world learned of the scale of the disaster gradually as the first images and testimonies of survivors emerged. International aid began to arrive within a day. The scale of the humanitarian operation was unprecedented. More than $14 billion was raised in humanitarian aid, making it the largest humanitarian effort in history at that time. Warships and aircraft from dozens of countries delivered water, food, and medicine. Doctors Without Borders set up field hospitals. Rescue teams searched for survivors under the rubble. But there was another threat. In the tropical heat, with no clean water or sewage systems, diseases began to spread among the decomposing bodies. Cholera, dysentery, malaria, mass vaccination and sanitation of the affected areas were required. Long-term legacy. The disaster changed the scientific approach to tsunami monitoring. In 2006, the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning System was launched. A network of 26 seismic stations and 9 buoys in the open ocean is now capable of detecting an underwater earthquake within minutes and sending warnings to coastal countries. Building codes in coastal areas have been revised. Evacuation maps have been created. Regular drills are conducted. In schools in Indonesia and Thailand, children are taught to recognize the signs of a tsunami and to know evacuation routes. Conclusion: this event also showed the best side of humanity, the scale of international solidarity, the speed of mobilizing aid, the willingness of people to help complete strangers on the other side of the world. Every year on December 26th, memorial events are held in the countries affected by the tsunami. Monuments have been built. In Banda Aceh, a 25,000-ton ship that was thrown 2 kilometers inland by the wave has been preserved as a memorial. This disaster changed 14 countries. It claimed 250,000 lives, but it also taught us the importance of preparedness, the value of scientific knowledge, and the power of human compassion in the face of a natural disaster that knows no bounds.